It is a major part of Lincolnshire's military history, but in less than 4 months' time, RAF Scampton will close. Guy Gibson's dam busters flew from the base during the war, and more recently it's been home, of course, to the Red Arrows. Today there have been celebrations at the RAF base and in the neighbouring village to mark that heritage. Our reporter Joe Makel is there at the moment. How are people feeling about this closure?
Well, Peter, I would say there's been a mixture of pride and sadness, and of course lots of questions about what is going to happen to this site once it actually closes. You have got a real sense today of this site not just being important to the people who already live and work here, but to the community around them and indeed to Lincolnshire as a whole. But of course the RAF is trying to modernise not just its culture, but in terms of where it's based, it's trying to save money. But with all that going on, today has really been a day to look back with pride at RAF Scampton's history.
Marching to commemorate the past and towards a new future for the people who live and work at RAF Scampton. This officially marked the closure of the base. A flypast included the iconic Lancaster bomber and 6 of the Red Arrows. It hasn't been an easy few weeks for people here. There's been criticism of the culture in the RAF and allegations of misconduct levelled at previous members of the elite acrobatic team. But today the focus was on pride in the base and its history.
Watching the Lancaster go over, it just reminds you of the courage, dedication and innovation of those that have gone before. To be able to celebrate other people who've walked this ground before us, who've influenced the future, it does make me really proud.
Open since before World War I and the birth of the RAF, in the Second World War, Scampton was home to the famous 617 Dam Buster Squadron. In the Cold War, it had the nuclear-armed Vulcan bomber, and for the past 2 decades has been home to the Red Arrows. That rich history is now embodied in the village church in a new stained glass window.
We've always been the church of RAF Scampton, that we remember the squadrons and all the personnel who served there. Lots of people in the village have already spoken to me and said how sad they are that RAF Scampton's closing. So it's a very sad day in history.
John and Margaret came to listen. His father was in the RAF for 47 years and worked at Scampton.
What a beautiful historic station. Classic layout, as these stations often are, linked to so many around here, but a wonderful representation of what Lincolnshire did.
Annette Edgar helped to set up the Save Scampton campaign. They'd like to see it preserved and turned into a living museum, still with a working runway.
Don't you think that having RAF Scampton as a living, working aviation museum site, call it what you will, would be the best memorial to the people who served in the RAF in Lincolnshire?
There's no clear decision about what will happen to the base. The RAF is working on it being vacant by March next year.
I've heard the same comment several times today. People are concerned that this site will be simply handed over and be developed with housing, and that history will be erased. And a number of people have said to me today they really don't want that to happen. The MOD won't be drawn on what the future holds. They say they're still in discussions with the local council. What we do know is that the personnel will be moving out over the autumn, including the Red Arrows, who of course are moving to RAF Waddington. Peter.
Joe, thank you very much indeed. It won't be the same, will it, driving to Lincoln, wondering whether you see the Red Arrows